Injuries are a natural part of football. Every pro player understands that they'll have to spend some time on the bench at some point. However, there are instances when injuries can turn out to be much more severe than just a few weeks with crutches. Here are 10 injuries that ended a player's career. Roy Keane, known as one of the toughest guys in Premier League history, isn't someone you'd want to mess with. However, in 1997, Alf-Inge Haaland dared to challenge him. The Leeds midfielder accused Keane of pretending to be injured when, in reality, Keane had hurt his cruciate knee ligament. Bad move, Alf. Keane isn't the forgiving type. 4 years later, he got his payback. Haaland had moved to Manchester City and tensions were higher than ever. Towards the end of a game at Old Trafford, Keane made a brutal knee-high tackle on Haaland, who went down in agony. Some say Keane ended Haaland's career, but that's a myth. The tackle was on his right knee, and although Haaland had left knee issues, he finished the game. Unfortunately, surgery on his left knee didn't work and he had to retire in 2003. But the one and only Djibril Cissé, our double feature on this roller coaster of injuries. His first misadventure happened against Blackburn Rovers, and oh boy, did he put on a show. Imagine this: Cissé's fancy blade shoes getting stuck in the turf, leading to an acrobatic landing that snapped both the tibia and fibula bones in his left leg. Ouch, right? But 2 years later, in a pre-tournament practice session against China, Cissé decided to break the monotony by breaking his right leg. Talk about a commitment to his craft. Unfortunately, this grand entrance to the World Cup final wasn't on the programme, so Cissé had to sit that one out. However, the man's got the heart of a lion. 7 months later, he made a triumphant return to the field as good as new. It's almost like he pulled off a magic trick, a disappearing act for a while, only to reappear and steal the show. But former England and West Ham forward Dean Ashton's story is about dreams that were so close, yet cruelly snatched away just as he was hitting his stride. A product of the renowned Crewe Alexandra Academy, the highly rated Ashton drew the attention of West Ham during the January transfer window of 2006. His performances hinted at the huge potential within him, and West Ham had to fend off interest from Manchester United and Arsenal to secure his services. While Ashton narrowly missed the 2006 World Cup, he finally got the long-anticipated England call-up in August 2006, much to the joy of fans and managers. However, fate had other plans. A badly timed challenge from fellow England international Sean Wright-Phillips during a training session resulted in a devastating broken ankle for Ashton. The injury kept him out for the entire 2006-2007 season. Despite managing to return to the pitch and make 35 more appearances, his persistent ankle problems eventually took a toll on his body, leaving the promise of his career unfulfilled. On a different note, there's Jack Wilshere, who at one point was seen as the next big sensation. His remarkable display for Arsenal against Barcelona in the Champions League became the stuff of legends. In 2011, Wilshere was crowned Arsenal Player of the Year, and the football world had high hopes for him. However, that very year he suffered a fateful ankle injury. Sadly, Wilshere has never truly bounced back from it. Initially, he was sidelined for a whopping 17 months, but his ankle issues have persisted for nearly more than a decade. Speaking of injuries, Ronaldo's career wasn't brought to a halt by his own injuries. The Brazilian football legend went on to clinch the World Cup and the Ballon d'Or despite grappling with knee issues. Still, it's undeniable that he was never quite the same player afterwards. Back in late 1990s, Ronaldo was hailed as the world's finest. He was well on his way to becoming a GOAT contender. However, in 1999, during a match for Inter, disaster struck as the striker's knee gave way. Following surgery to mend his ruptured tendon, he made a return a few months later. Yet, in his comeback game, his knee once again betrayed him, and this time it was even more severe. He spent the better part of 3 years on the sidelines, and there were grim warnings from doctors that his career might be over. But Ronaldo defied the odds and made a remarkable comeback. He even reached the pinnacle of the game by securing the World Cup in 2002 before making his move to Real Madrid. However, post-tournament he continued playing into his mid-30s, but he was a different player post-injuries. The explosive pace that set him apart was no longer there. In a similar vein, we have Owen Hargreaves, an England international who hailed from Canada. His football journey kicked off at Bayern Munich, where he enjoyed the thrill of winning 4 Bundesliga titles and even claiming the illustrious Champions League trophy. However, his path took a troubling turn when he made his way to Manchester United in 2007. It didn't take long for his injury ordeal to kick in. Hargreaves found himself on the pitch only sporadically during the 2008-09 season, all due to the nagging tendinitis in his knees. In search of a remedy, he took a leap across the Atlantic to consult a specialist surgeon in the US, which led to surgeries on both of his knees. The timeline reads that Hargreaves finally made his comeback in the Premier League action in 2010. Yet, the relentless knee troubles left their mark, causing a chain reaction of muscle injuries that kept him sidelined for quite a while. Despite his commitment, Hargreaves bid adieu to Manchester United in 2011, even offering to play the next season for free. Moreover, Eduardo da Silva's injury left an unforgettable mark on the pages of football history. In a tournament back in February 2008, he faced a harrowing ordeal on the pitch when he suffered a severe injury. A torn left fibula and a left ankle dislocation in an encounter with Birmingham City. Right after this distressing incident, Eduardo was swiftly rushed to Selly Oak Hospital, where he underwent extensive surgery. His journey to recovery was an arduous one, lasting nearly a year before he could make a return to Arsenal's first team. Let's move ahead, and this time our spotlight shines on Marco van Basten, widely seen as one of the greatest goal scorers in the history of the beautiful game. His remarkable record includes an impressive 152 goals in just 172 games while wearing Ajax colours, but that was only the start of his remarkable journey. He later became the star forward in AC Milan's renowned squad, led by Arrigo Sacchi. They achieved significant success, winning 3 Eredivisie titles, 3 Serie A titles, and 2 Champions League trophies. And let's not forget his crucial role in Holland's victory in Euro '88, which was sealed with a jaw-dropping volley in the final against the Soviet Union. It was a time when Marco van Basten was truly at the peak of his game, a feat that earned him the esteemed Ballon d'Or for the 3rd time in 1992. But, as often occurs in the world of sports, challenges were lurking just around the corner. The Dutchman's persistent ankle problems, which had first emerged as early as 1987, began to take a toll. It became evident when he could participate in just 11 league matches during his first season with Milan. Unfortunately, his streak of bad luck continued in late 1992 when the same troublesome ankle was injured again. Despite undergoing multiple operations, he couldn't overcome the issue. While he did make a valiant return for the 1993 Champions League final against Marseille, it turned out to be his farewell performance for Milan. Sadly, at the tender age of 28, Marco van Basten was compelled to say goodbye to his football career. But in October 2006, Chelsea's goalkeeper Petr Cech faced a life-threatening situation due to a controversial incident on the field. It happened when his head collided with Stephen Hunt, a player from Reading. The scene was so horrific that it nearly cost him his life. After being removed from the game, he collapsed in the dressing room. His injury was so severe that it led to the formation of a blood clot. To address this critical condition, he was rushed to the Royal Berkshire Hospital, where he underwent surgery for depressed skull fracture. The injury occurred as a result of a knee striking his head. At that time, it was announced that he wouldn't be able to play football for at least a year. However, in a surprising turn of events, Cech made a swift return to Chelsea's first team just 3 months later. Lastly, David Boost's career-ending injury is often considered the worst in football history. This dreadful incident occurred during a Premier League match in April 1996, pitting Boost's Coventry City against Manchester United. Boost, a defender, joined the attack during a corner kick. After a save by United goalkeeper Peter Schmeichel, Boost dashed in to score, but collided with Brian McClare and Dennis Irwin. What unfolded was truly shocking and horrifying. Booth's frantic arm waving signalled the players to the gruesome sight, a severe compound fracture of both the tibia and the fibula in his right leg. The injury was so severe that doctors contemplated amputating Booth's legs at one point. He underwent a staggering 26 surgeries. Eventually, he left the hospital on his feet, but his professional football career came to an abrupt end, and he retired in November 1996 at the age of 29. If you like this video, do subscribe to the channel for more updates. We will catch you in the next one.